Okay, we are live. Welcome
Hello.
back. Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of What's for Dinner. I hope you all had a fantastic Memorial Day long holiday weekend. Did some fun stuff. Hopefully you guys didn't fall off the wagon too hard if you did it all. So, what do we have going on here today, Teresa?
My favorite. Burgers, eggs, and bacon.
Okay. So, again, we got the high grease burgers. We do the 70-30. We get these at Walmart, and they're probably one of the cheaper burgers you can get to because the fat content is so high. But Teresa likes hers with American cheese, and then I like mine with baby Swiss, and I'll usually leave an extra there in case one of the kids wants to grab one or something. Then they can put what they want on it. So we've got those, and then both of us. Teresa likes the Redmond's real salt, and I like the Jane's Crazy mixed up salt. And then Teresa did some bacon in the air fryer, so that's looking really good. And then she did eggs.
Yes.
And those, you can see there's quite a bit of butter she put in there in the bottom as well, so it makes the eggs, oh my gosh, they're so good. And then we have some leftovers from Memorial Day weekend and before. So what do we have going on here?
On Sunday we had corned beef and cabbage. So this is just cabbage. There's a
Yeah.
tiny piece of corned beef.
Talk about this cabbage, because when you made this the other day for the first time, well, it's been a couple weeks now. This is like the third time you've made it. But when you made it a couple of weeks ago for the first time and I had it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like taking cabbage to the next level. It reminded me of like Chinese stir fry cabbage. It tasted like that. And the first time you did it, we didn't even have the malt vinegar which you've got right here, which we started using afterwards.
So I just I cut up some bacon, more now that I've made it a few times, and you saute that in a stock pan, a big pot, and then once that's kind of did you want me to move over?
No.
Okay.
You're good.
Once that's kind of fried, then I add a whole onion, and then I do add extra bacon grease and extra butter just to keep the bottom of the pan from sticking too much. And then once that's caramelized, I add in fresh pressed garlic, the cabbage, a whole head of cabbage, and some onion powder, some garlic powder, and some salt. And then I just cook it down.
Yeah, it came out really good. I was very, very excited when we started making that again. And then we had the stuffed mushrooms here.
Yeah, and then this was also from Sunday with this.
So
we had
that's
our neighbor over, and so Brussels sprouts, creamy Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, so that's the Brussels sprouts with like lots of cheese, cream cheese, butter. Oh my gosh.
Heavy whipping cream.
That's my favorite too.
And then yesterday for Memorial Day, we cooked ribeyes, shrimp Alfredo, and stuffed mushrooms.
Yeah.
So these mushrooms are Italian sausage. I saute that. When it's cooked thoroughly, I add in a block of cream cheese and some ranch dressing, and then wash the mushrooms, peel them back a little bit, stuff them, and then cook it. Oh, and then I sprinkle cheese over the top.
Yeah, it's
We
really
are not
good.
a dairy-free household.
Definitely not. And the cabbage, the mushroom, and the Brussels sprouts, this is like taking it to the next level here. This stuff is really good. Because we get people who are like, oh, I don't really, I'm sorry, when we say people, when we have guests over, who don't like Brussels sprouts, it's like, these are not like your Brussels sprouts.
I don't like them either. I'm in it for the fat. So, and I don't like warmed up Brussels sprouts. So you will be eating this.
Not as good leftover. I'm not as big of a fan. It's much better fresh, but it's still really good leftover. So, okay. So is that all the food we got covered?
Yes.
What about sugar and insulin? Was this going to cause any kind of spikes in our...
It will not, but you guys have to remember, you're only going to spike insulin, sugar and insulin, with protein and fat if you have carbohydrates with that. So if I was to eat cake and ice cream after this meal, my body's going to burn the cake and ice cream, and it's, well, probably the ice cream, and then store the cake and all this other fat on my hips in places you don't want them to go. Or if you had fries with this, or baked beans, or mac and cheese, you have to keep your insulin low to lose weight.
What about a sweet potato? Can I have a sweet potato with this?
No.
Okay, because I heard those were healthy. No, again, I'm kind of joking around, but it's not that they're terrible for you. It's just that they have sugar.
Well, people think wheat bread is better than white. 2 slices of white bread is 28 grams of carbs. 2 slices of wheat is 50 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
So we've been propagandized, brainwashed, to think wheat is better. And so you've been brainwashed to think brown rice is better than white, and sweet potato is better than regular potato by a minute amount.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is they both have carbohydrates. And if they have carbohydrates, that means it's going to convert to sugar or glucose in your system as it breaks down and digests. And that's going to cause your insulin to elevate. Once the insulin elevates and it's on board, we can't affect fat loss. We can't tap into our fat stores. We have to get rid of those, the glucose first. Yep. So you kind of sabotage. Even when you're just putting a little bit of this or a little bit of that, especially if you're not metabolically healthy.
Well, that's just what I was going to say. You're saying, could you have a sweet potato? Probably, because you walk or run sprints and otherwise you eat good. But if you're a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, you can't have a sweet potato. If you want to heal your metabolic disease. If you want to progress it, you may have a sweet potato.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so moving on, you and I were having a discussion earlier. Actually, we had a discussion over the weekend about somebody, and they had brought up a point. Their weight loss was stalled.
Yes.
So they had gone on a ketogenic diet. They were doing a good job. They lost a considerable amount of weight, but then it stalled out. So that leads us into what we want to talk about tonight, which is the body weight set point. Can you tell us a little more about that?
So this person lost I don't know if it was 26 or 32 pounds in 4 weeks, but now she's at a stall. So there's nothing, a stall is really not a stall until it's been about 3 or 4 months, because your body, it goes down and then it stays right here and it figures out what you're doing, it figures out what it's doing, heals a little bit more, maybe some more fatty liver, and then it goes down again. Like if someone would have told me at almost 53, I was thinner than I was in high school, I would have been like, there's no way that can happen, but you don't know. So people will come in and they'll go, it's not like I want to be like I was in high school. And I say, we don't know what your body wants to do. So the body set point is where your body's going to fall, but it could take years.
So your body has to, as you're going through your transformation and you're making these changes, your body has to adjust to these changes. And sometimes we've seen this happen before when people lose a lot of weight really fast, their body will start fighting back. And some of that may be a situation where they're maybe losing a little bit too much muscle. They're burning stuff other than fat.
Right.
So remember that we want to burn fat. We don't want to lose muscle. We don't want to lose, bone, anything like that. We want to lose fat only. So we got to be careful. We got to make sure we're eating plenty of protein. But your body will fight back after a while. So when you get to that point, if you're stalled, you got to give yourself some grace. Back off a little bit. Let your body do. Your body is amazing.
It's divinely designed. It's perfect.
It's amazing. It'll figure it out on its own. You feed it what you need to feed it, and you know it needs. You provide the proper sleep, the proper exercise, the proper stress and home management, and your body will do what it has to do. Now that's not, there's exceptions, of course, for people who are sick, but
right. Right. But, all of that matters. You can have the greatest plan, but if your sleep is off, you can have the greatest plan, but if you work night shifts, you can have the greatest plan, but those things matter. So don't give up. And we've got to also, I was talking to someone today, we've got to do resistance training. So you can't just walk. Walking is an activity. It's not exercise.
Yeah.
You got to do resistance training so that you can put on lean mass. And then I told Mark, I came home and told him this story. And I used to write down these stories and share them on Facebook like every 5 months, because it would be like once in that many times. But now it's every person. But this person had a stroke. She's 72, had a stroke, and she went to this new doctor, and he said, you got to stop eating meat, you got to go vegan, and you got to start running 2 miles a day. I can't say it. You have to start running 2 miles a day, because she's 72. She's never been a runner. It's like telling me at 53, in the shape I'm in, and I used to be a runner, to start running 2 miles a day. She said, I feel much better though when I eat red meat. And he said, that's in your head. So this is what you're up against. This is why I'm so mad at the establishment, because I hear this all day long. It's all I hear. But this is what you're up against. I came home to Mark and I was like, how are people supposed to navigate the system? How?
Yeah, and when it comes to this kind of stuff, folks, you don't need to navigate the system. There's really not a system for you to navigate.
Right.
Like there's nothing, there's nothing there for you. That's why we try and do this. We try and put this out here because this information is free, actionable advice you guys can do on your own, and you can make these changes on your own, because there is nobody out there. I shouldn't say nobody. There's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, you don't have anybody to support you, anybody in your corner that are, as far as providers, medical providers.
Right.
It's so tough to find one, and the ones that are out there, unfortunately, a lot of them are incredibly expensive.
Right.
So anyway.
Right. Yeah.
We could go on and on about this, and we could go down a bunch of rabbit holes, but
I don't even write this stuff down, but it was fresh in my mind. So
yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Well, bottom line is, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us what you guys are having for dinner. And if you guys have any questions, let us know.
Yes.
We love you all, and we're in
good
your
work.
Yes, keep it up. We love you guys. Reach out if you have any questions. Did I already say tell us what you're having? I think I did. All right. Well, love you guys, and God bless, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.